Life is not meant to be lived in the shallow waters of comfort. It is meant to challenge you, transform you, and at times, even break you, so that you can rebuild yourself into someone far stronger and more authentic than before. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This choice, the choice to become, is one of the most profound responsibilities we carry. Yet most people live without ever truly making it. We move through life, reacting to events driven by fears, habits, and old wounds, unaware that every day we are shaping ourselves into someone, often without intention. When life pushes us to the edge, it is not to destroy us. It is an invitation to step into the unknown, the place where real growth happens. The truth is, transformation rarely occurs in comfort. It is in the storms, in the moments when you question everything, that you are most alive. You are no longer coasting. You are facing yourself. Jung believed that the parts of ourselves we avoid, the hidden fears, the suppressed emotions, the unspoken desires, are not meant to be ignored. They are signals. They are calling us to confront what we've buried, so that we may finally integrate it and become whole. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Think about that for a moment. How many choices have you made or avoided making, not because they were right, but because you were afraid? Afraid of rejection, of failure, of not being enough? Fear has a quiet way of convincing us that it is protection, when in truth it is a prison. The first step to liberation is awareness, and awareness begins with honesty. You must be willing to sit in silence with yourself, without distraction, without numbing, and truly see what is there: the pain, the longing, the truth you've been avoiding. It is uncomfortable, yes, but it is also the doorway to your freedom. In these moments of raw self-awareness, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see that the life you have been living is not the only life available to you, that your identity is not fixed. It is a story, and you are the author. You can write new chapters. You can let go of the roles you were forced into, and step into the person you were always meant to be. But understand this: change will cost you. It will cost you parts of your old self, old relationships, old dreams. And this is why so few truly transform, because they cling to the comfort of what they know, even when it is slowly killing their spirit. True transformation requires surrender, not to others, but to the process. It means allowing the old to fall away without knowing exactly what will replace it. It is stepping into a space where certainty no longer exists, only trust. And trust is built through experience. You will fail. You will doubt yourself. You will want to turn back. But every time you take a step forward, despite the fear, you teach yourself that you can be trusted, that your inner compass is real, that you are capable of navigating the unknown. Carl Jung often spoke of individuation, the process of becoming your true self. It is not a comfortable journey, nor a quick one. It is a lifelong path of integrating every part of yourself, including the parts you wish were not there. It is the courage to say, yes, this is me, all of me, and I am still worthy. So ask yourself now, are you living the life you consciously chose? Or are you simply living the life that happened to you? There is a reason why the journey toward self-awareness often begins in moments of crisis. When everything you once depended on starts to crumble, when the identity you've built no longer feels real, when life removes the illusions you've been holding on to, you are left with only yourself. And that can feel terrifying. But in truth, this is a gift. Because only when the noise is stripped away can you hear your own voice. Only when the masks fall can you meet your authentic self. Jung understood that the human psyche is not just the conscious mind, it is an entire landscape filled with light and shadow. We often believe that personal growth means adding more positivity, more light, more success. But in reality, it often means confronting the darkness we have avoided. For years, the shadow, as Jung described, is not evil in itself. It is the part of us that we deny. Our insecurities, our impulses, our pain, even our unused potential. When ignored, it shapes our life from the background, influencing our choices in ways we cannot see. But when acknowledged, it becomes a source of strength and authenticity. Facing the shadow requires humility. It means admitting that you are not perfect, that you have flaws, blind spots, and wounds. But it also means understanding that these parts of you do not make you unworthy. They make you human. It is tempting to keep these truths hidden, even from ourselves. We tell stories to cover them. We distract ourselves with work, relationships, or constant busyness. But suppression does not lead to healing. It leads to projection. The more we deny our inner struggles, the more we see them reflected in the people around us. If you find yourself constantly irritated, judgmental, or resentful, it is often because you are encountering a part of yourself in someone else, a part you have not yet accepted. Jung wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." This is not a call to blame yourself for others' behavior. It is an invitation to ask, what in me is being reflected here? The path to self-mastery is not about controlling the world. It is about understanding your reactions to it. When you can see your own patterns clearly, you begin to take back your power. No longer are you trapped in cycles of unconscious behavior. You become an active participant in your own evolution. This process is not easy. You will resist it. Your ego will try to protect its old identity. But if you can stay with the discomfort, something extraordinary will happen. The very things you thought were weaknesses will reveal themselves as sources of wisdom and compassion. Your wounds can become your greatest teachers. They can help you understand the pain of others, to offer empathy, to connect on a deeper level. The shadow, once integrated, becomes a bridge, not a barrier. But integration is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing practice. Every new stage of life will reveal new layers of yourself. And with each layer you have the choice. Hide from it or embrace it. Remember, transformation is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming fully yourself, the version of you that is no longer fragmented or hiding. The version of you that can stand in the light without fear of the shadows. So if you find yourself in a season of discomfort, uncertainty, or loss, do not rush to escape it. Sit with it. Listen to what it is trying to show you. This may be the moment your real life begins. When we talk about transformation, many imagine a sudden, dramatic change. A moment when everything shifts and a new life begins. But in reality, true transformation is often subtle. It happens quietly in the way you think, in the way you choose, in the way you see yourself and the world. You may not notice it at first, but one day you'll realize you are no longer reacting the way you used to. The same things that once triggered you now pass through you without controlling you. The pain that once consumed you no longer has the same hold. This is the sign of real growth. Not that life has stopped challenging you, but that you meet those challenges with a different spirit. Your strength is no longer built on resistance or denial. It comes from understanding and acceptance. Jung often spoke about the process of individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming the person you truly are. Individuation is not about self-improvement in the shallow sense. It is not about adding new skills or polishing your image. It is about integration, bringing together all the parts of yourself, including those you once rejected. This journey asks you to step away from the need to please others, from the pressure to fit into a predefined role, from the fear of being misunderstood. It asks you to stand in your own truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Because authenticity will always feel risky at first, but it is the only way to live a life that is truly yours. There will be moments when the old patterns try to return. The mind loves the familiar, even when it hurts us. You may feel the pull to shrink back into old habits, old relationships, old versions of yourself. But if you can pause in those moments and remember who you are becoming, you will find the strength to choose differently. You will start to notice the subtle shifts, the conversations you no longer engage in because they drain your energy, the people you no longer chase because you understand your worth, the habits you release because they no longer align with your vision of yourself. This is the quiet revolution of the soul, the point where self-awareness turns into self-respect. You no longer need external approval to feel whole. You no longer compromise your values just to belong. And as you embody this, your life begins to attract what is aligned with your truth. But individuation is not only about personal fulfillment. It is also about contribution. When you become more whole, you are able to give more authentically. You are no longer helping others from a place of guilt or obligation, but from a place of genuine care. Your relationships deepen because you meet people as you are, not as the version you think they want. Your work becomes more meaningful because it reflects your inner values. Even your solitude changes. It becomes a space of nourishment rather than loneliness. Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This privilege is not handed to you. It is claimed through courage, self-reflection, and persistence. It is claimed every time you choose truth over comfort, growth over stagnation, and love over fear. If you are on this path, know that it is not a straight line. There will be seasons of clarity and seasons of confusion. Times when you feel deeply connected to your purpose, and times when you feel lost. But every step, even the uncertain ones, is part of the unfolding. And here is the paradox. The more you grow, the less you need to prove yourself. Yet the more your presence will inspire others. You will not need to convince anyone of your worth. It will simply be felt. As your inner life transforms, the outer world responds. You begin to see that relationships are mirrors, not just of your beauty, but of your wounds, your fears, and your unspoken desires. Some people will celebrate your growth, while others will resist it, because your change forces them to confront their own. This is not a sign to turn back. It is a sign that you are no longer playing the role you once did. When you stop fulfilling the expectations others had of you, their discomfort may surface. But remember, you are not responsible for making others comfortable at the cost of your own truth. There is a kind of loneliness that appears in this stage. It is not the loneliness of being unloved, but of walking a path few understand. You may feel like you have stepped into a new language, one that not everyone around you speaks. Yet over time, you will find those who do, people who meet you at the depth you now live in. Jung understood that the shadow, the hidden, rejected parts of ourselves, plays a central role in this journey. He wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This means we must face what we fear, what we deny, and what we avoid within ourselves. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the unacknowledged part of your humanity. When you integrate it, you stop being controlled by it. Your anger becomes strength. Your envy becomes a signal of what you value. Your fear becomes a guide to where you need courage. This work changes how you move through the world. You stop blaming others for your pain because you see the patterns within yourself. You stop seeking constant distraction because you are no longer afraid of being with your own thoughts. You stop living in reaction to life and start living in conscious creation. And in this space, love takes on a different meaning. It is no longer about possession, validation, or control. It becomes the freedom to see and be seen without masks, to allow someone to exist as they are without the urge to shape them into your image. Your empathy deepens, not as a form of self-sacrifice, but as an understanding that everyone is fighting an invisible battle. You begin to listen without planning your reply. You offer help without the need for recognition. You forgive not because what happened was acceptable, but because you refuse to carry the weight any longer. This stage of growth also brings a new relationship with time. You stop rushing toward the next milestone and start noticing the small, sacred moments, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of rain at night, the quiet peace of a morning alone with your thoughts. Life becomes less about chasing and more about being. You are no longer in a constant race against yourself, and yet, paradoxically, you achieve more because your actions are aligned with your deepest values, not with fleeting desires. Jung reminded us that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. When you reach this point, you understand what he meant. It is not an act of arrogance, it is an act of wholeness. You see your flaws and your brilliance, your fears and your courage, and you allow them all to exist within you. The journey is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming whole. And in this wholeness, you discover a quiet strength, the kind that cannot be taken away by the opinions of others or the unpredictability of life. Reaching this stage is not the end of the journey. It is a new beginning. The path of individuation, as Jung described, is a lifelong process. There will be moments when old fears resurface, when the shadow reappears, and when the comfort of your former self tempts you back. But now you walk with awareness. You know who you are, and you know the cost of abandoning that truth. You begin to make choices not out of fear or habit, but from a place of deep alignment. Your relationships become intentional. Your work reflects your values. Even the way you spend your quiet hours feels different, infused with purpose, or with the simple beauty of rest without guilt. The storms of life still come, but they no longer break you. Instead, they reveal the roots you have grown. Roots deep enough to hold you steady, yet flexible enough to bend without shattering. You no longer fear uncertainty because you understand that life is not meant to be controlled, only met with presence. And perhaps the most profound shift is this: you stop waiting for life to grant you permission. You realize that the authority you once sought from others has always belonged to you. Every step you take from this place is an act of self-trust. Jung's words echo here. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Understand that this is not about becoming someone new, but about returning to yourself, the self that existed before you learned to hide, to please, or to shrink. From this space, love becomes expansive. It is not limited to romance or family, but extends to life itself. You begin to see beauty in places you once overlooked, in the resilience of a stranger, in the curve of a leaf, in the way light dances on water. Gratitude stops being a practice and becomes a way of seeing. And while others may still misunderstand your path, their approval no longer defines you. You are not here to live someone else's story. You are here to live yours, fully, unapologetically, and with the courage to meet each moment as it is dot in the end. The journey is not about escaping your humanity, but embracing it. It is about walking through the dark valleys with the same openness you carry into the sunlit fields. It is about holding your joy and your grief in the same pair of hands, knowing both are part of the same whole. And when you live this way, you find that you do not need to chase the best stage of your life. You are living it here, now. In each breath, in each choice, in each quiet act of being true to yourself, because the best stage of your life is not a place you arrive at. It is the way you choose to walk the path, because the best stage of your life is not a place you arrive at. It is the way you choose to walk the path. If this message spoke to you, let it be a reminder that growth is always within reach. Take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. Your reflections might inspire someone else on their journey. If you found value in this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss future insights into Carl Jung's wisdom, deep psychology, and the art of self-discovery. Together we can explore the depths of the human mind and create a community built on growth, curiosity, and understanding.